Hello and welcome to Old Nerd Reads his Marvel Comics in Order. This is episode 47. This time I read Fantastic Four 173, kicking off the month of August from the year 1976. I'm going through my Marvel Comics collection, reading them in release date order. I'm about 2 years into my collection right now. My collection is a little sparse at this early stage. Once we get a few more years into the future from now, I'll have more titles, more of the main titles to mix in. But as of right now, I just have a little bit of this and a little bit of that I've picked up over the years collecting. Anyway, that's my Marvel Comics recap that you usually get on the first page of your old Marvel Comics. If you're an old nerd like me, you'll remember this. It was kind of the editorial mandate at Marvel Comics to what was the deal? Everybody is a first time reader, so somebody picking up a comic book off the newsstand, out of the rack back then, had to be given a quick refresher on what has been happening, and so that's what I just did. Okay, I'm going to shut up now. So, Fantastic Four 173. The Fantastic Four have been captured and taken to the High Evolutionaries' Counter-Earth world. And this issue starts off with them in space. Galactus just arrived at the end of last issue. The Thing had just defeated the Destroyer. And now that he's defeated the Destroyer, he's got to take on Galactus. And this isn't even the real Thing at this point. If you remember, Ben Grimm has been reverted to human by his exposure to the Hulk's gamma rays. So this is a Thing suit built and designed by Reed Richards. So this is Ben Grimm inside of an armored suit that gives him powers and abilities like when he was the Thing. Not quite the amount of strength that he had, but close to it. Again, this issue is written by Roy Thomas. We have a fill-in artist, John Buscema. His artwork in this issue is awesome. I really love it. It kind of makes me think of Al Williamson. When Al Williamson did Flash Gordon, he did all those. He did the Marvel Comics Star Wars movie adaptations. Al Williamson was a fantastic sci-fi artist from the 50s and the 60s, and John Buscema's artwork in this issue kind of makes me think of that. Like, for me, I don't know about you, but when I think of John Buscema as an artist, I think of Conan and John Buscema drawing sword and sandal type material. I didn't see a lot of his. He drew superhero comics. I think he drew the Avengers for a while back in the 60s, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong. And he drew that. He returned to the Avengers in the 80s during Roger Stern's tenure as the writer, I believe. But mostly I think of Conan when I think of John Buscema. But his work in this issue is outstanding, as you'll see as I flip through it. But the Thing tries to fight Galactus and fails. He's in, like I said, he's in this Thing suit, and Galactus blasts him with his eye beams, knocking the wind out of him. He's been out in space fighting the Destroyer, now fighting Galactus. So he's basically been holding his breath while having a slugfest. So this knocks what little air he had left out of him. He lands on the High Evolutionaries asteroid, home base asteroid, and he decides he's got to dig his way inside to some air. But he runs out of air before he makes it and collapses. Luckily, the spaceship that the rest of the Fantastic Four is on has this robot arm that reaches out and pulls him in. Here we make a point of Reed Richards being depowered again. He's keeping it a secret. He has been keeping it a secret over the last several issues that he's kind of losing his power, losing his strength. This is a nice way that Roy Thomas wrote it in here. Sue asks if he can manage pulling Ben in, and he says he should be able to, and he does. But this is a nice little not in your face hint that Reed Richards is kind of losing his power, and we're not going to find out why just yet, but I suspect it's coming up in the future. So you see here, they take the mask of Ben Grimm's suit off, his Thing helmet, Thing mask, whatever, and he's still alive. He was breathing inside there, just didn't have much air left. Galactus on his ship. Now this must be something new. I didn't know this, but Reed asks him, "Since when did you learn telepathy?" So I guess Galactus is communicating with everyone with his thoughts. This must be a new development as far as Galactus' abilities. Roy Thomas must have just made that up for this issue. So now we know that he can speak telepathically from space. Tells them about his heralds, Silver Surfer, Gabriel, who was a robot. I don't remember Gabriel. Gabriel must have been, I don't know, back in the 60s maybe? I'm not sure. Firelord was one of his heralds for a short time. Now this is cool because two of the issues of the Avengers in the 80s, when John Buscema was drawing it, I think. Was it John Buscema was drawing it? He at least drew the covers, but there's a famous 2-issue story in the Avengers in the 80s where Spider-Man in his black costume fights Firelord. And those were some of my earliest memories as a kid, were picking up those issues and reading them, and they were awesome. This doesn't quite look like Firelord, but it's just interesting to me that it's John Buscema drawing this Firelord, which doesn't quite look the same as I remember, and drawing the Firelord again in a couple years in those issues of the Avengers. These Mighty Marvel mirrors look pretty cool. Anybody out there have those? Have one of them? I don't remember seeing those as a kid. I'm sure they were around. I probably did see some somewhere, but I don't remember them. And we got a little Thor cameo. We're talking about how the Destroyer became the Herald of Galactus, and a little flashback to a battle with Thor. I guess it was Thor's suggestion to Galactus to use the Destroyer as a herald, according to this. And Roy Thomas would know. I mean, he was pretty much the editor of Marvel Comics at this time, so he would know that sort of trivia. But here we see Ben in his Thing suit. Here's the High Evolutionary. The High Evolutionary is a character who always has some kind of new gadget he's developing, and it's usually in some stage of development. Here he says he's been monitoring the telepathic communication between Galactus and the Fantastic Four, so he has some kind of contraption for that. As we go along through here, we'll see a couple more that he just kind of whips up at the last moment. Like, this guy must be constantly inventing and building new technology. But then again, he's a High Evolutionary. He developed this counter-Earth, populated it with all these people just like on Earth. Like, this guy's quite the inventor. He makes probably Tony Stark, Reed Richards look like small potatoes. But the High Evolutionary is not too keen on Galactus being there, because Galactus is there to devour the High Evolutionary's counter-Earth. Counter-Earth is a copy of our Earth on the opposite side of the sun, so our Earth can't see each other. But this is all created by the High Evolutionary, who's formerly of Earth, I believe, and now is some sort of super being, super inventor, super genius, living out in space, doing his genetic experiments, basically. But he's the reason he sent the Golden Ape Gore to Earth to retrieve the Fantastic Four and bring them here to help him defeat Galactus. And that's why the Fantastic Four is here. So, and so the Fantastic Four leave Gore's spaceship and go down to the asteroid where the Evolutionary is. See, these panels right here make me think of Al Williamson. Like, that makes me think of Al Williamson artwork. That does. I don't know. Just something about it seems very Al Williamson-y to me. Anyway, the High Evolutionary takes the FF down into his asteroid so that they can come up with a plan to stop Galactus. This is a cool letter. It's one big long letter and a big long response from Marvel editorial. But this is complaining about Ben Grimm reverting to human and not being the Thing anymore. And this guy's just going on about, you've got to change it back. And then editorial responds by, oh, he'll probably get changed back at some point, but he probably won't be the same. And since the Thing stars in Marvel 2-in-1, and he appears in another title called Supervillain Team Up, all of those stories are the actual Thing, and they all take place before this story where he's not the Thing anymore. So that'll come into play in a few more episodes when I do Marvel 2-in-1. Crazy. Why is this man smiling? And this is the bicentennial year, of course, so Cap's the star of Marvel's bicentennial campaign. Naturally. Grit newspaper. The ads were in just about every copy of Marvel back in these days. Grit from Williamsport, Pennsylvania, not very far from where I live. Still there, I believe. I think it's still a thing. Grit newspaper. I don't know if it's an actual newspaper now. Maybe it's online, like most things. Don't know. But anyway, the High Evolutionary has found several worlds, inhabited worlds, that could be alternates for Galactus to devour instead of his counter world. And we have to do is split up the Fantastic Four into smaller teams, send them to these two alternate worlds, or these two inhabited worlds, and see if the inhabitants would sacrifice themselves to Galactus to save Counter Earth, which is kind of silly, but that's Marvel Comics back then. Reed and Ben go to, I believe this world's called Mecca, and it's inhabited by robots. They find out that the leader of this world is Torgo. Apparently this is a robot or some sort of being from the Fantastic Four's past. There was some sort of a fight with the Skrulls, where the Skrulls turned a planet into an old-time gangster movie. So this was as seen in the Immortal issues of FF number 90 through 93. So he's a character from the Fantastic Four's past. He rules this mecha world of robots. The Fantastic Four asks him if will you sacrifice your world so this world you've never even heard of will be spared by Galactus? No, I won't. So a fight ensues, and Reed and Ben end up captured by the Electro Clamps. Cliffhanger for them. Look at this bullpen bulletins. A pulse-pounding palimpsest of Pajandrums pure, Palaver paradisic, and Pan's pandemic. What the heck? I think this is Roy Thomas trying to outdo Stan Lee mostly. Stan's got a quick soapbox. He's got the flu, but he's talking about his third book in the Origins series. This one is called Bring On the Bad Guys. I know I've seen that out and about. Probably you have too if you're an old nerd like me. Lots of good announcements in this bullpen bulletins. The first Marvel Treasury edition? No, the latest and greatest edition of Marvel Treasury edition. My gosh, my brain's going too fast. My mouth can't keep up. This one is the featuring Thor. And this one I've seen a lot. I don't own it, but I know this giant size Marvel Treasury edition of Thor. It's just got a big drawing of Thor on the cover. I know I've seen it through the years several times. What else have we got? Oh, they go into this whole section right here is about no prizes. Everybody's trying to get a no prize back in these days, but it's kind of warranted that everybody was trying to get no prizes at this point, because Marvel was really, their editorial was really kind of in disarray. It was a bunch of, I guess it was a bunch of hippies making these Marvel comics, and everybody was just kind of slapdash and not worried about it. And it wasn't until a few years later when Jim Shooter took over as editor-in-chief that he got everybody in line and made all the trains run on time, so to speak, and got everything kind of cleaned up. But I guess there were so many mistakes at this point in Marvel that so many people were pointing them out and asking for no prizes that they had to do this big long bit in the bullpen bulletins about why we do no prizes and blah blah blah. So I mean, they brought it on themselves that so many they were getting so many requests for no prizes. But that's neither here nor there. Here's our bicentennial Cap. He's heading to Washington, D.C. for the bicentennial celebration with a stupid Red Skull and his cosmic cubes spirit him away. But luckily, the cosmic cube likes Hostess Twinkies and won't listen to the Red Skull when the Red Skull instructs the cosmic cube to destroy Captain America. Cosmic Cube's too busy chomping down on Twinkies. So Cap is able to beat the Red Skull and head back to Washington, D.C., but he's got to stop and pick up some more Hostess Twinkies on his way. Now, here again, this John Buscema artwork kind of reminds me of Al Williamson. I don't know. Am I crazy? Am I wrong? Does anybody else see it? Johnny and Gore get zapped to this second planet, inhabited planet, and it's like knights in shining armor times on Earth, kind of. A fair maiden, about to be eaten by a flame-breathing dragon. Kind of looks like Godzilla on all fours or something. So the Human Torch takes off. Gore saves the maiden. Torch scares off the dragon, but then the knights come along and knock them out, take them prisoner. So this is the cliffhanger. The whole team's been separated, captured on separate worlds. Now the High Evolutionary is at his last. He's out of options. So the cliffhanger is he's got to fight Galactus mano a mano, his life or mine. That's the end of this issue, the cliffhanger of this issue. But we do get this little bonus, another G.I. Joe short, this time for Bullet Man. Bullet Man saves a town from a flood by blasting through a mountain and knocking a big rock in the path of onrushing water to save the town. The other G.I. Joes, this is the way all these have started so far. Eagle-Eye G.I. Joe spots something from the air from way far away. Bullet Man comes in, saves them. They say, hey, good job. High five. You're on the team. This toy you could send in for. This would have been cool. G.I. Joe Action Pack. 3 free G.I. Joe Super Action Pack. This free G.I. Joe Super Action Pack, valued at over $5, includes spy outfit in black, inflatable life raft and oar, binoculars, radio, signal light, and more. Just mail in the Hasbro seal from the back of any Eagle-Eye G.I. Joe, Bullet Man, Atomic Man, or Intruder package. Man, those were the days. That would have been a cool thing to get, though. Or you can go fishing. Or you can build a model airplane. I love the 70s. Let's go back to the 70s. Anyway, that's Fantastic Four 173, the August 1976 issue. Stick around. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I've got a lot more to go. I've got a lot more of my collection to get through. I'm just getting started. I'm going to go through them one by one, do a video for each one. So if you like this, please subscribe, please share. Please comment down below with anything I got wrong or any kind of interesting trivia that you know about this era or this comic. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.